we were asked to do this kind of installation, no, in NGV almost a year ago, and they wanted us to do a collage or a textile, and I was much more interested in creating a provocative installation on the topics that we were researching at that time. So I was, or we have been researching this forever, but it's a continuation of thoughts behind the work we do. And I thought it was very important to speak loudly about the topic of care, care labor, and something that is not recognized. And this is why the title La ropa sucia se lava en casa. No? It's because we have been talking in the house, this labor, which is not recognized or is not socialized and is not paid, no, and it's talked in the house as if it didn't exist. The house is, the theory of the house that we're living in is the place for rest and recreation, where is the place where the most important job we have to do exists. So we decided to use the topic of laundry, because it involves also basically two very important things. First of all, the fact that is the first layer that protects our body, no? And I believe architecture is a way of protection of our body, is the second layer after the clothes. And for me, then architecture is a form of care, no, in that manner. So we decided to speak about the care of that first layer. And it involves, as I said, two things. First of all, the layer of protection, and second of all, the labor that is embedded in it, that is very precariously paid, which is the process of doing that clothes, or it's also a very precarious, when it is recognized, a labor recognized, the one that cares for that cloth, for that garment. So washing and caring for that garment, no? And so we decided to reproduce, but also the labor, focusing on the labor that of caring for that garment. It has been transformed, no? Now that we are not paid for that, we probably ever in society we have not been paid, in history we have not been paid to do that. But it was not that we had this very strictly divided society, between what's paid, what's not paid, and how it's paid. And definitely at the time that was the laundries were public, were open, were social, and were done collaboratively in many ways. No, I don't want to go into the topic if it was generalized since ever, but at least it was social. And so we decided to reproduce or interpret, more to say than reproduce, a public laundry that is typical to our country. We specifically studied those in a little town in Hidalgo, but they're very varied. And this one, we had a lot of information and we could access it easily. And so we decided to create an interpretation of that as a central for the installation. And we did during this year 4 different workshops with different groups of people, gathering to talk about our clothes. What does it mean that it is the first layer of protection? What is it that it takes to have it? What is it that it takes to care for it? And we asked every participant to bring a piece of garment. If they didn't have it, we brought some other pieces of garments to speak specifically on that piece. Why did it brought it? What it represents, if it represents something at all. Who cares for that piece of garment? And who have you cared for the clothes for, if you have? And we quilt them while all these talk happen, while knitting them together, sewing them together as a group. So we created kind of these quilts and everybody put a ribbon on top of the garment or whatever, with their names or the names of the people who have cared for the clothes, or the names of the people who they would like to care, or whatever, named people to invent stories, with it, or or who the garment belonged to, or who you would like it to be belonging, or whatever. And so we have these 4 very big quilts of the workshops, which were very fun, and interest, and yeah, fun, and yeah, cool. And these will be hanging in the room around the laundry, our interpretation of this laundry, which is not, the idea is not to make a reproduction, it's just an installation. And then in the walls, we will make these drawings, which are a little bit telling the story on how this labor happens, and it has happened some point somewhere. Obviously, it's not exhaustive, it's not hyper comprehensive, and it's not intended to be a scholar. And research is an installation. I think that architecture has been a tool and an engine, I would even say, for the for the perpetuation of inequalities and discriminations, just by following the fact that, or by building up de facto, without being compromised with thinking and criticizing profoundly our current built environment. Architecture has been a tool and an engine for the other. Our built environment is completely designed and surrendered to production. We live in a place and in a moment where, to exist, you need to produce, and everything is set up for you to produce. But the contradictory part is that to produce, we need to exist first. If we don't exist, we cannot produce. And to exist, we need basic things that are not recognized as things that are the first and foremost necessary things, which is being healthy. Being healthy needs a body to be taken care for by some other, having the correct nutrition, which it's dependable on another, and having the correct health, which is dependent on the way you rest, how you rest, and how you are sheltered. And but in fact, our cities are done exactly to do the contrary, to be as efficient as possible, to make you be able to work the most efficiently and the most hours possible during the day. Everything is set up for that in our environment. So, but this is the contradiction. No? If you don't do the other first, you cannot produce. So for me, it's really surprising that it has been taking so long. It's already starting to happen, no? That we have started to realize that. But it has taken so long for us in society, for me as a person as well, no? Because I didn't see it years ago. It took us so long to understand that we're really we're relegating the most important thing, and we're losing it. And this is why we're being expelled from the planet. So I think that we have to, architecture could become an engine to the transformation, for sure. Right now, there's no basis, because all the built environment is completely surrendered to the fact that we need to be efficient to produce. So I don't believe, also, I'm not an innocent person, that architecture can change it all, but definitely we have to do our task, no? And architecture can not change it, but can create a platform for that change to happen. And architecture has been the platform for that not to happen, because if you think, I mean, I realized it very clearly. I was already thinking on it, but it was so obvious in the pandemic. I live in a very privileged situation where I live in a unit that is only 6 households. And I thought, well, this is a perfect bubble, right? We are 6. We're so privileged we can all work from home, which also this is a very big privilege. But we all do have to make our reproductive and care labor at the same time. So why don't we share it? It's perfect, you know, we're 6. And I said, perfect. One day a week I cook for everybody, I do the laundry for everybody, and then the rest of the week I am able to work and rest, literally rest, right? Um, and then I started, well, okay, but I cannot cook in my kitchen because where do I cook for 25 people? But okay, I'll take care of the kids. Where? In my living room? No, they don't even feed together seated, right? Uh, in the garden, well, what if it rains? They will not stand for more than an hour. Okay, where? Okay, guys, I'm going to the supermarket. Can I bring you something? You know, it ended up like that because it was not possible to be shared. We could not share. Where did I wash the clothes for everybody? In my laundry machine of 9 kilos. You know, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. The spaces are really designed for that not to happen. And so how can, if labor is not going to be recognized, it's not going to be paid, so I cannot spend my time doing it. I need to then produce to then do it, no? Then how can we overcome for that? How can architecture become a platform? The idea would be that it's paid and then we can forget about the rest. I mean, in this society, I would say no, that's not the ideal. The ideal is that we socialize it, no, and we understand it as our most further important necessity. So we put it in the center, then obviously the architecture is completely different. There's another architecture that needs to be done. And the cities need to profoundly change in order for that to be a platform for care and reproductive labor to be at the core. So I'm there. I'm trying to think how doing architecture that becomes that platform. Let's see. I don't think a, we don't need women doing the same things men did. We need women thinking differently. And not only women, we could accept men also who think differently. No, I don't think that thought is relegated to gender, but definitely, I mean, definitely, the shape of our society would have been different if we would have included not women only as others, but women with their necessities as others, no? Because women are doing the majority of the reproductive work, care labor, because first of all, and furthermore, it's embedded in their bodies, you know, in our bodies. So if we would start from there, you know, praising that aspect, definitely our society would be different. And as I said, we don't need men, we don't need women thinking like men. We need women thinking like women, and we need more than that, no? Because there's 2 sexes, but there are many genders. So how can we embed all that? And I think one of the problematic aspects is because we, like the aim of the 20th century, you know, was to find equality through homogenization and through democratization, and that meant standardization, and that is how we search for it in the 20th century. But I think we have come to realize that that is really exactly the wrong path. No, we need equal opportunities, but we are not equal. So how can we achieve equality of opportunities with accepting the complete differences of ourselves? Because you and I might share sex, but we don't share many things, even probably the identification of gender, no? I mean, there are many things already with that. So a lot of or maybe we don't even share sex, I don't know, but it's really we have to accept that we each of us is a completely different person. So how can we include that in society? And this is something that has not happened, and is yeah, it was shaped by men for sure, but I'm not sure if women thinking the same would have done the same, you know. We
Mm,
don't know, we will never know because that didn't happen.
mm,
But for sure right now what we need to do is not search equal opportunities for women as men have. We need to search equal opportunities for everybody, but we accepting their differences, no. Mm, I really have no um basically no understanding of the artificial intelligence world. I have not gone into it. I believe that I operate in a physical realm and I need to be taking care of the physical environment. People think differently. I use obviously electronic
yeah.
possibilities and digital communication as we are actually right now. I see them as incredible tools to do the things we need to do in the physical context. I'm not I I'm not such a technological person, and I believe that for me, my world is physical, and I operate in this realm. So I'm not there. So I don't have an opinion. So I know very little. I met her online twice or three times. She's very cool. So I cannot profoundly speak about it, but definitely I think that we, in these conversations that we have had a really horizontal understanding, you know, on values that we share.
Mhm,
She also believed that there is an importance of creating platforms for others to have voices and to express voices in a different way, no. We really also understand each other when we're speaking about, yeah, we're talking about, you know, equalizing the work we do in terms of men and women, but then where do kids, you know, where, how do we care for everybody, elderly people, kids? I mean, if we women and men work the same, what do we do, no, with the rest of the things we need to do? So for me that was really incredible. And I was exactly yesterday saying this to someone else, but I think that for me, uh, the majority of the cases when they invite me, you know, as being the woman and the first of the women and women and women, for me it's very uncomfortable. I don't like it, but it's necessary, you know. Unfortunately it's necessary. And I would say unfortunately because I would really would like that this is was not the conversation at this time, that we already have overcome that in society, and I didn't have to be that person, you know, that is chosen because it's a woman.
mhm,
I don't like that, you know.
mhm,
I didn't came to the world for that, but well, maybe yes, and I have to assume it. But it's necessary because it definitely there are no opportunities for other voices to be heard, and so we need to start digging the ground and opening for it. And for me, I think the responsibility comes, as for her in different ways. For me, it comes in the notion of really opening the eyes and understanding that even if I have a voice and even if I set an example, not everybody has the possibility of following it because they don't even have the opportunity of seeing it, you know? So for me, arriving to this place is important to understand how can I open opportunities for those who don't have opportunities. For those who already have opportunities, already by example, it works. Not completely, or by doing these exhibitions, but then how can you create the basis for those changes to really happen? And I believe it's through two ways. No, first, having an impact really in transforming policies, in transforming grounds for institutions in architecture or elsewhere, and then transforming the built environment, so those platforms really allow opportunities for people that do not have to exist. I realized very recently ago with I asked Isabel Martinez Abascal, who's an architect, a Spanish architect living in Mexico, to give a little intervention in a program that the ETH was having about 7 questions. And she did such a beautiful lecture. And she said that a phrase that is going to remain for me forever, no? That women that we have had kids, we are the only really persons that understand what is a house, because we are a house for a body. So
Oh.
is the first architecture you live, no? The body of your mother who gave birth to you. And the mother that gave birth is the first house, is a house. We are houses. So if we really understand our environment through that notion, I think a lot of things would change, both as being lived inside that body and as that body being inhabited by someone else. And we all have inhabited a body, that's for sure. Not everybody has been inhabited, but we all have inhabited a body. But anyway, I didn't realize that when I was pregnant, but looking at that in retrospective, I think that I really understood much more after having my kids, my girls, not these bodies inside me. And I really was even more keen. I was always, because I always thought of architecture as a very most important form of care for bodies. But for me, I understood what is the essence really. That is that, is architecture being a form of care. And this is why I probably think my life is just one. No, it's not me as a mother and me as an architect. Is me, Tatiana. I'm a mother and I'm an architect. It's everything flows in the same time. And I, on the other hand, I understand, being a mother and being an architect in this position. I understand how privileged I am, because I have been able to create a network of care that doesn't rely on me. And only, obviously, I'm a part of that net of care, but it's not only relying on me. And this is something that I would like others to have, the opportunity of having a network, which the cities and the communities and the processes and the life we live in are preventing from having, for people to have. The most competitive cities, the cities with the higher job opportunities are those who are, going on top as bulldozers on this. I mean, I remember very clearly a friend, Hilary Sample from New York. She is a partner in Moss Architects in New York. And she one day told me, Tatiana, I admire you so much. I don't know how come you do it? You by yourself. I mean, I have Michael as my partner in the office, and then we can run the office and we can have the 2 kids, but I don't know how you do it with 2 kids by yourself. I'm like, No, 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 no. You have not understood a thing. I mean, I admire you. You live in New York. You don't have help of anything. You don't even have your family around. I am the most lucky person in the world. I live in Mexico. I have a full network that my kids don't rely on me. They rely in a net, not on me only, you know. It's a network of my mom, my sister is my partner, my husband, my parents-in-law, my uncles, my nieces, my cousins, you know, my friends, my best friends, and the same as they help me, you know, doing this care, I help them doing care. So I do have a network. So I really want to
Yeah.
create spaces that allow these possibilities of network, because networks, no, to exist, because that's also something, no, the cities that are really more efficient and more surrendered to production are those who ban these possibilities much more, no.